Hello everyone, I'm Farah Imran and today I'll be telling you what are the mistakes that you can avoid while learning coding. So some of you guys or some of you might be making these mistakes. So stay tuned and see, because of course from the start till the end, so that you can see whether you're among the people who are making these mistakes or not, so that you can avoid and speed up your coding progress, and so that because these mistakes are slowing your coding journey. So let's get started. So the very first mistake is that watching too many tutorials. So of course you watch too many tutorials, and not just tutorials, even if it's YouTube tutorials, even you're taking the courses that are so long, like such as 68-hour course, 70-hour course, 30-hour course for one thing you're taking. So that is taking up a lot of your time, and it needs and even I myself have taken these courses and haven't finished it yet because it took up a lot of my time. So these things that you watch too many tutorials, and you then of course you get frustrated over it because you're not finishing it, and you're not finishing it, so that's why you're just getting frustrated over it. So the second mistake is that trying to remember everything. Now, while watching tutorials, some of the beginner mistakes is that you try to remember everything. For example, it's if it's coding, so you try to memorize or remember everything, like the codes and everything. So you don't have to remember it. Instead, you can, because these is giving you the theoretical thing. You just need to know the theory about it, little bit about it, but the coding, you if you know how to it's done, then you can start doing the coding, because by practice you can get it instead of trying to remember everything. So mistake number 3 is that trying to master everything. Now what you're doing, you're going from one place. For example, you're interested in web development and you start learning JavaScript, for example, and then after that you switch on from web development, you switch on to game development, and then you start learning C++. Okay, after that you have interest in AI, you start learning Python. Now these things, what does, it's that you start jumping from one to another thing, and it won't you won't ever get anywhere, and it will just slow your coding learning code. Because first you're interested in Python, you start learning Python, then you learn C++, then you learn Java, then you learn this, then you learn that. So instead of trying to master everything, try it's better if you choose one field, like the one which you're interested in, and start making or start learning the things that are needed for that, so that you can like have progress. Because most of the people like trying to master everything, what happens, so the people think that if I have 2 or 3 fields, so maybe I can get the job in any one of the fields. For example, if you did little bit in web development, and then after that you did little bit in data analyst or data science or AI, and then after that you did little bit in Python learning, so you have like these 3 or 4 fields, and then after that you did little bit in computer vision. So because of these things, you just know a little bit of the basic of everything, but you're not a master in one thing. You know, there's a quote that master of one is better than the jack of all trades. So try to be a master of one instead of the jack of all trades. So pick one language, not sorry, not one language. I'm saying pick one field, and then start the things, like start researching about it, that what are the languages needed to learn to master it, and be a master in that field, so that you can get a good job and be well and be a master in it. So the mistake number 4 is that one programming language is not enough. So of course you're learning JavaScript, and you're but just one programming, or you have learned just Python, it's not enough to get your job, because one programming language is not enough to get your job. See, if you're interested in web development, so not only do you need just JavaScript, you need to learn HTML, CSS, you need to learn React, you need to learn the APIs like such as REST APIs, even SQL. So even in web development, there's a types of fields. So just pick which field. If it's front end development, so you'll go for React, you'll go for JavaScript, HTML, CSS, you'll go for these fields. But if it's backend, you can learn like the programming language such as Python. You can learn the SQL, APIs like such as Node.js, Express.js. So that's what one programming language. You can't just learn one programming language and think that it will do your job for everything. You need to learn more things in it. Just how I said before, pick a field, be a master in that one. So not practicing anything is that you didn't practice anything. Like practice in the sense is that you're trying to learn to code because it's code, it's not some another language that you need to remember. So if you want to remember it, start practicing, because in coding you see the tutorials, do some projects, like do some internships related to, and start practicing. Otherwise, if you don't practice it, it will get, you'll start forgetting it. You won't know, like after 6 months you won't even remember that what is how to even print a sentence. So start practicing it, and practice so much that you become a master in it. So there's a thing that is called practice. So start doing that, because practice is the most important thing in the coding journey, so that you can speed up your coding progress and learn fast. So start practicing in coding. And one of the mistakes that beginners do is that watching others learn to code, because what and not practicing anything, because here, as I said, not practicing anything, because when you see others code, you feel that, oh, I can write this code. But when in my mind you have this thing, but when you start writing code, there's nothing, it's blank for you. You won't even remember that what was that code. It happens to me sometimes when I watch a tutorial and like to live, and I'm like taking a course, and then after that, of course, I see this code and like they're writing, and then I see, oh, I can write this. But when I actually start writing it, I won't even remember the code. So this happens when you're not practicing anything. So by typing the code yourself, then only can you remember it. And so mistake number 6 is not focusing. So not focusing enough won't get you anywhere. It will slow up your coding journey. And because when you're learning to code, so of course you need to focus it and not just like go through tutorials and just focus on the finishing it. So instead you need to focus on the code itself. So not focusing it won't get you anywhere. And this is one of the most important and the mistakes that people do. So mistake number 7 is having the mentality that I know everything. Okay, you know everything, then tell me what is the code. This thing happens, and then you're blank, and then you think that, what should I say? This thing happens. So having the mentality that I know everything, this will also speed up your coding journey, because what will happen is that you think that you know everything, but actually is that you don't know anything, and your learning is stopped. You stop learning it, you become obsolete, and then you won't get any job. So this thing happens. I'm not trying to motivate you guys, but I know everything is the one of the biggest enemy of you, because this mentality is the biggest enemy of you. When you say I know everything, it stops your coding journey, it stops your learning. And then, because technology is advancing and of course coding is needed, but so that's why this is important. So don't ever have this mentality, otherwise, yeah, you won't ever get anywhere. So that is all from my side, and do like, subscribe, and share my video. And also, if in the comments, tell me that which of the mistakes that you were doing, and you might stop doing it now. So do tell me in the comment. And that is all from my side. Thank you so much.